We are in episode 8 now, and in episode 7, remember what we talked about was how we can change the aperture and shutter speed and affect how bright or dark our image is. So now we're going to put that to work. This time we are going to take a picture. We choose aperture if we want to control the depth of field. So let's use that as our example here. And we choose shutter speed if we are if we want to freeze action. So I want you, it's best to go outside to do this. I've changed my location here in the park, but it's best if you're outside. Look for a bright area. Actually, I've got a dark area here, kind of a shady area because the sun is a little bit too bright, so you may need to do that. Set your ISO to 200 or 400 depending on whether it's a bright area, 200 or 100, and 400 if it's shady as it is here, although I'm leaving mine on 200. And set your aperture to f4. So however you do your aperture, remember sometimes it's a front button like on my camera, sometimes it's pressing the AV button or the plus minus button while you're turning the dial on the top or the back of your camera. So do that. So I've got mine on f4. And we're going to let remember that metering index, it's going to show us whether we're underexposed or overexposed. So I'm going to, what I want you to do is get a friend or maybe some flowers or a water bottle, as I've done here, you can see on the wall, and we're going to take a picture of that friend or water bottle or object against something else. So you want something behind, maybe some trees. I've got this column, the stone column here, and then of course the trees beyond that. So if you point your camera now towards the friend, object, or whatever, and put your focal length, I'm assuming that you have probably a kit lens, so it's 18 to 55, put it at 18, kind of the widest position on your lens, and get about 3 feet away from the object or friend, and focus on the bottle, object, friend, flower, whatever it is, and notice the reading in your viewfinder. Is the indicator at the plus side or the minus side, or are the little squares lighting up on the left, on the plus side or the right side of the 0 in the metering index? What we want is to get that indicator back to 0. We want that to be the point of location for the indicator. So I'm turning so we're going to change our shutter speed, and remember how you do that. So it's telling me I'm a whole stop overexposed, but if I go to, in my case, 1/640th of a second in f4, I've got a properly exposed image. Okay? So now what I want you to do is take a look at that image, and if you zoom in on it, there's usually a plus sign or a way that you can zoom in on a picture. If you zoom in on it, you're going to see that your bottle, person, or flower, or whatever, is in perfect focus, but the things behind it are a little fuzzy. And the reason for that is depth of field. We've chosen a small number, which gives us a shallow depth of field, just like in a swimming pool, 2.8 feet, shallow end of the pool. So we want to take now a picture where a lot is in focus. So we're going to change our aperture to f11. So as you're changing the aperture, count the clicks. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, so that's 6, 7, 8, 9. And that brings us, or should bring you, to f11. Okay? So f11 is going to give us a very, very small hole, and therefore we're going to have a deeper depth of field. But we've taken away a lot of light. So what we need to do is we need to change our shutter speed. So again, focus on your friend, flower, or bottle, and look at the reading in your viewfinder, and slow down your shutter speed so that you have the indicator at 0, or it's telling you that you are 0, 0, as I am. At 1/80th of a second, it's telling me that I'm focused properly. I take the picture, I take a look at it, and I zoom in on it, and the column behind it is in pretty good focus. So I've got a fairly decent depth of field. Now that's how we affect depth of field, and it's one of the ways that we use that ability to change aperture and shutter speed to make it slower in the case of shutter speed, or faster, or make the hole bigger or the hole smaller in the aperture to get a correct exposure. Later on in a future episode, we'll talk about how we get a creative exposure. Okay?